First, giving some attention to the posture. And, bringing some energy to the spine. Not, sort of allowing it to be rigid or tight. Rather, growing a tree. And letting the branches of the legs and arms just kind of fall naturally into place. Allowing the head to rest gently on top of the spine, bringing the chin down a bit. Understanding the power of our faces. Letting our faces be soft and light and welcoming. Not to please anyone else or put on any kind of false front, but just to lighten the whole attitude. We can allow the face to be soft and open and receptive. Sometimes I picture what my face would look like if I was sitting directly in front of the Buddha, or someone I love and respect and cherish. What does that feel like? Just opening. Bringing a balance of uprightness, energy, and relaxation, openness, receptivity, settling. And then putting the mind where the body is, in the present moment, in a balanced, energetic, and receptive place. Flowing with the conditions of the here and now, rather than any sort of future story or past rumination. Just letting the mind be with the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches of the room, just as the body is, without reacting, responding, running away, moving toward, collapsing into. And reflecting on the refuges that we just took, recited. What does it mean? Taking refuge in the Buddha. Yeah. Opening to the possibility that we can be awake, present, clear, or have moments of awake, present clarity. They are not beyond our grasp. Or beyond our ability. And taking refuge in the Dhamma is knowing, acknowledging the possibility that there is a way out of suffering, that it's an inside job, that there are tools and supports for it. That's why we showed up today, to some degree. And refuge, taking refuge in the Sangha, being aware that there are supports available to us throughout the world and throughout history. Models and examples of people who are following the Buddha's teachings and realizing the results of those teachings for their benefit and our benefit and the benefit of all beings. So we can tap into that, we can rest in that, we can delight in that. And as we move into silent meditation, then just, keeping an eye on the body, it's a balanced posture, keeping an eye on the mind and heart, cultivating and maintaining a balanced posture there too. And allowing the refuges, the possibilities to be awake and real and active within us. Okay. Been starting with a reading from Ajahn Chah these last months, and I'll just go ahead with that this morning. As the knower of the world, the Buddha saw danger in the round of samsara. For us who are his followers, it's the same. Knowing all things as they are will bring us well-being. Where exactly are those things that cause us to have happiness and suffering? Think about it well. They are only things that we create ourselves. Whenever we create the idea that something is us or ours, we suffer. Things can bring us harm or benefit depending on our understanding. So the Buddha taught us to pay attention to ourselves, to our own actions, and to the creations of our minds. Whenever we have extreme love or aversion to anyone or anything, whenever we are particularly anxious, that will lead us into great suffering. This is important, so take a good look at it. Investigate these feelings of strong love or aversion, then take a step back. If you get too close, they'll bite. Do you hear this? If you grab at and caress these things, they'll bite and they kick. When you feed grass to your buffalo, you have to be careful. If you're careful when it kicks out, it won't kick you. You have to feed it and take care of it, but you should be smart enough to do that without getting bitten. Love for children, relatives, wealth, and possessions will bite. Do you understand this? When you feed it, don't get too close. When you give it water, don't get too close. Pull on the rope when you need to. This is the way of Dhamma. Recognizing impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and lack of self. Recognizing the danger in employing caution and restraint in a mindful way. Ajahn Tongrat didn't teach a lot. He always told us, be really careful. Be really careful. That's how he taught. Be really careful. If you're not really careful, you'll catch it on the chin. This is really how it is. Even if he didn't say it, it's still how it is. If you're not really careful, you'll catch it on the chin. Please understand this. It's not someone else's concern. The problem isn't other people loving us or hating us. Others far away somewhere don't make us create karma and suffering. It's our possessions, our homes, our families where we have to pay attention. Or what do you think? These days, where do you experience suffering? Where are you involved in love, hate, and fear? Control yourselves, take care of yourselves. Watch out you don't get bitten. If they don't bite, they might kick. You're feeling really good right about now. Don't think that these things won't bite or kick. If you do get bitten, make sure it's only a little bit. Don't get kicked or bitten to pieces. Don't try to tell yourselves there's no danger. Possessions, wealth, fame, loved ones, all of these can kick and bite if you're not mindful. If you are mindful, you'll be at ease. Be cautious and restrained. When the mind starts grasping at things and making a big deal out of them, you have to stop it. It will argue with you, but you have to put your foot down. Stay in the middle as the mind comes and goes. Put sensual indulgence away on one side. Put self-torment away on the other side. Put love to one side, hate to the other side. Put happiness to one side, suffering to the other side. Remain in the middle without letting the mind go in either direction. Well, I really think we could wrap it right there, but I'll just add my 1 cent. I was talking to a Dharma friend this week, and they said something really, smart and brilliant and insightful, and I said, well, I got to work that into a Dhamma talk. And then I said, well, I can't do that because they're spontaneous and based on my experiences, what I'm looking at in my own practice, the people in the room, and I'll never remember it besides, and I don't. But then they went on to say, well, you've been working in a lot of Dhamma confessions lately. Like the blueberries and the accidental taking of a bowl from the hermitage and these sort of like little mistakes, as I go along. And I thought, well, I said, it's just really good to be a person and to know I'm a person and to just get that out there right in front. We're all just people here on this path. If it wasn't a path, we'd be done, right? Or we'd never start, or it would be one point. This isn't Disneyland. Like, it's the road to Disneyland. So everybody we meet on the Buddhist path is going to be in some different place. We're not all going to have the same amount of skills. We're going to be making mistakes. We're going to be making progress, acknowledging the mistakes and the progress, both very important. And this morning, I just woke up with a lot of complaints. And I think to myself, I have complaints. Like, this is something I tell myself. Like, I'm glad nobody said, "How are you?" this morning, because I would have said, I have complaints. I wouldn't have gone on to detail any of those complaints. But it's sort of like I have a sunburn. Like, I have complaints. I do. I have a lot of complaints today. I was, just read this little bit about dukkha from the morning chanting. Having heard the teaching, we know this: birth is dukkha, aging is dukkha, death is dukkha. Dukkha is like suffering. Stress is a better term, maybe. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair, dukkha. Association with the disliked is dukkha. Separation from the liked is dukkha. Not attaining one's wishes is dukkha. That about covers it, Of course I have complaints. I was separated from some things that I liked yesterday and associated with some things I didn't like. And then I woke up too early and I was separated from sleep, which I really like, and associated with tiredness, which I really dislike. I have this weird spot. I have complaints. And they're nothing, absolutely nothing worth complaining about, Out loud, making a problem for other people, making a problem for myself, making a problem for my family. I think what's normal, what's typical is for one to realize one has complaints and then start acting on them. Well, I got to fix this, and I got to blame this person, and this person's got to fix this, and we're going to get through it together. Well, nobody wants to get through your complaints together. This is what I've learned. Nobody's up for that. So over time in this practice, I've learned to just kind of notice. Oh, I have complaints. Here they are. I woke up with them. It's like you wake up with like bad hair, like a headache. I have complaints. But having complaints doesn't mean it has to color every next thing that I come in contact with. Every next person, every next scenario, every next gathering. It's just normal. If you're associated with something that you don't like, which is to say it's nearby, the mind, the body, the heart is going to complain. Again, it's like getting a sunburn. It's too closely associated with the sun, and now it hurts. My skin is, this isn't a sunburn, but my skin is complaining. But I can take care of it. This is what I've learned in this practice, is that I can take care of it. I have the tools. I am the complainer and the box for the complaints. It's this very tidy circle, in theory. When I'm practicing well, the complaints just go from my heart into the complaint box, and then I kind of work through them as I have the time. I try not to lodge them, around town, around my family, around my friends. I want to do some of that work internally. I was listening to a talk this morning I typically listen to a Dhamma talk on my way here from Vancouver in the morning. It's a nice way to kind of settle and transition, And I was listening to a Dhamma talk by Ajahn Amaro, and he was talking about the Buddha as a physician. He was known as the great doctor. The Four Noble Truths are generally thought of as kind of this medical model. There is suffering, there is an end to suffering, there's a cause, and then a path. And then some medicine. Something to do. So there's a diagnosis and looking at the cause and finding the cure, and then what's your prognosis? Happiness as the prognosis of finding the cause for suffering and acting upon it, or acting upon the causes for happiness. But he was saying, that the Buddha wasn't, what did he said? The Buddha wasn't a doctor like a theoretician. He wasn't a theoretical doctor. He didn't sort of look at the suffering of the people around him and say, well, this is how medicine works. He said, where does it hurt? Ajahn Amaro says, a good doctor, he said, it asks where it hurts. What hurts? And that was really, apropos to me this morning. What hurts? Why do I have complaints? What's going on? And I find that that's a really good way to dissolve the strength of the complaining mind, is to kind of just to look at what hurts, what's going on. I sort of, this thing happened that I didn't really like, and I'm over here, I'm blaming somebody else. Well, that hurts. That doesn't feel good. And over here, I'm blaming myself. And that doesn't feel good either. That's this ping pong of externality. I think I just might have made that word up. It's this kind of, you did it, no, I did it. No, you did it, no, I did it. I don't know if anybody else plays that game, but it's really a strong habit. You did it, no, I did it. Okay, well, that hurts. Well, what else is going on? Well, I'm tired. That hurts. I'm crabby because I'm tired. But I think, in previous years, don't let this stop you from talking to me after the meditation today. I still want to have coffee with all of you, but and I won't tell you my complaints, so you can feel safe there. I'm really not making a case for hanging out, am I? But I think in the past, I would lash out at somebody and they would say, what's your problem? And I would say, well, I'm tired. It's a good excuse. I'm just tired. Well, can I circumvent the lashing out? Can I just be tired? Can I just be tired and recognize I have complaints? But circumvent the part where I make it somebody else's problem. Now that's what the Buddha taught us to do, is to look, is to ask, what hurts? What hurts? Well, it hurts to be associated with something painful. It's the first arrow. Ow, this hurts. And then all of the arrows after that are me making a problem out of it. Well, it's your fault, it's her fault, and it's actually my fault. Well, it's a combination. We did it together. We made this mess. Now, how are we going to fix it? That's not helpful either. So just sitting with these things as they arise and seeing them clearly, watching, knowing. There's painfulness here. This is uncomfortable. it slows us down to make a commitment to not making a problem for other people. And I don't mean in that way that we were taught as children, shut up, sit down, be quiet, suppress it. I don't know if anybody else was raised like that, but I had a little bit, a lot of us had a little bit of that. I know it's this kind of commitment to being responsible for our own emotions, for our own responses, for our own reactions. It's, not making a problem for other people isn't about placating other people. It's about not, as Ajahn Chah was saying, it's about not creating new karma, not feeding that habit of lashing out, of pointing fingers, of even pointing fingers here. We just don't want to feed these habits. We want to feed the habit of sitting in wondrous, open-eyed curiosity. What hurts? This is so interesting. Why am I reacting to this in this way? My complaints are vaguely that I feel like, one of my poor, wonderful kids sort of did something that didn't reflect that well on me. It was very minor, but I had a lot of sort of self-righteousness and comparing mind about it. So that's what hurts. Somebody did something. Somebody did something that wasn't too bad that I didn't have any control over that I took personally. Well, that's not a very valid complaint when I put it like that. It doesn't sound great, does it? But it hurts when we grab something with self-righteousness. It hurts when we grab something with this kind of personal stake. Like, I'm going to take this personally. I'm in charge of this. I got to fix this. This kid's my responsibility. I got to make them better, No. We can let go and look at things in terms of what is skillful and what is unskillful. Take the personality out of it. That could have been a little bit more skillful. Do I have a skillful way of helping them learn while teaching myself? So that's a good question. And over here, this was actually skillful enough. It was fine. I had an opinion about it, but it wasn't so bad. It was okay, How can I use my integrity to steward, the situation, rather than taking it personally and lashing onto it, carrying it around with me? We can back up a little bit. We can create space. We can recognize what is our karma and what isn't, what habits we're creating and what we're not. We're just not in charge. I mean, it pains me to say, but I'm not in charge of everybody. People just are peopling all over the place without asking me first. That's normal. That's normal. But it takes a long time to recognize. I think, it's taken me a long time to recognize that I can only be responsible for my part. So that's what my practice is. It's a way to inform my part. This is my part. And letting go of what isn't my part. And not making other people, be any specific way. It feels a lot better, It feels good to see joy clearly, and to see love clearly, and to see complaints clearly, and to see frustration clearly, and recognize that they're all just a piece of this normal puzzle that we're all in at the same time. And so just finding ways to make space for ourselves, to make space for other people, to make space for joy and mistakes, to hold each other, to recognize the path, to have fun with it. That's what will help us maintain it for the long haul, which I've really enjoyed. This has been my spiritual home and my practice for 20-something years. And I don't, I'm really glad that I've kind of stuck with the pain of seeing this stuff over the years, because it's, when you stick with the pain of seeing something, then you also get to see that moment, whether it's a moment like this or a moment over time, where it dissipates and happiness takes the place of suffering and stress. Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. So that's where we see the results. It takes a long time. But that is what builds faith. That's what we describe, that's what we define as faith in this tradition is confidence, actually. Confidence in the Buddhist teachings, what we talked about as refuges, confidence in the ability to be awake, confidence in the ability to follow the teachings, confidence in the Sangha, the community that holds us. We can only develop that confidence by keeping on the path, doing the practice, seeing the results. And faith arises, confidence arises, and it becomes a virtuous cycle. All right, so I'll leave it there. Thank you. Thank you for not listening to my complaints.